Hi folks, Hub Arkush here for ChicagoFootball.com along with Kevin Fishbain and Arthur Arkush on Thursday from Halas Hall as we prepare for the Bears home opener, the renewal of the oldest rivalry in the NFL, Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers. And Kevin, clearly the focus right now is on that Green Bay Packer offense, specifically Aaron Rodgers against the Bears' new 3-4 defense.
Yeah, how about this for an Adrian Amos, for example, first ever NFL start against Aaron Rodgers, or Eddie Goldman, first NFL start. And even guys like Pernell McPhee's only played against Rodgers once. Alan Ball hasn't played against him in 5 years. And then the only returning starters who played him last year, Kyle Fuller, Shea McClellan, and Jared Allen. So it's a lot to ask for, but defense is still trying to get its feet under it, learn its scheme, and play the best player in the league.
You know, Arthur, I think the biggest concern right now, all the turnover in the secondary and those two new inside linebackers. We don't know how well the defensive linemen are going to do at outside linebacker, but Shea McClellan, Christian Jones, they were less than stellar during the preseason.
Yeah, it unfortunately seemed like they regressed a little bit as the preseason went on. Their final showing in Cincinnati, they were both targeted frequently on screen passes, dump offs, and that was with no real game planning. So now you've got one of the great strategists on the field in Aaron Rodgers, and I think we can be relatively sure where he's going to be going with the football. Shea McClellan's going to have to be up to snuff in coverage. And as far as the secondary goes, it's a part of the field where there needs to be great communication, and these guys, this has been limited. But I am anxious to see Antrell Roll, see if he has that extra half step that Vic Fangio joked about yesterday. And Adrian Amos, Kevin Fishbain just alluded to it. This is one heck of a trial by fire. We'll see how he handles it.
Well, and even with the rookie back there, you plug in Antrell Roll, Tracy Porter, Alan Ball. This secondary is not younger. These are veterans. And you have to wonder if it isn't at least a little bit of an advantage without Jordy Nelson. You hate to see a great player get hurt. Randall Cobb, of course, a Pro Bowler. But the Packers a little bit unknown at the receiver position other than, of course, Randall Cobb.
Yeah, we know what Randall Cobb can do, and he's not even 100% healthy with the shoulder injury. So that could be the Bears' advantage. Some other ones, the Packers have had some issues on the offensive line over the years, especially at tackle. And then it is the first game of the season. And if you're going to get the Green Bay Packers at some point in the season, you want to get them in game one. Vic Fangio knows that from his time in San Francisco playing in their debut. So, again, hard to find some advantages on that side of the ball for the Bears, but those are a couple of them.
Arthur, we know what the Bears want to do on offense. We know what they have to do if they're going to be successful against anybody, not just the Green Bay Packers. Run the football. Is that compromised at all right now by the uncertainty on the offensive line?
Yeah, a little bit, but if you talk about wanting to pass the football, isn't that equally compromised by all the uncertainty there? So we expected to talk about familiarity on offense. It's not going to begin the season that way. Running the football is going to be the ticket, though, I would imagine. If the Packers are vulnerable, it's right up the middle of their defense. They'll be without LaTroy Guion and Dayton Jones, as you know. The Bears will be without Jeremiah Ratliff. Obviously, they still have B.J. Raji and Mike Daniels, but I think that it has to be the area they're going to attack, if nothing else, because it can keep the Bears defense off the field, of course.
Well, Arthur mentions the uncertainty at wide receiver. We don't know who of the first four are even going to be able to play. We assume some or most, but the bottom line, Kevin, is they haven't worked with Jay Cutler now in 3 or 4 weeks. At least Marty Bennett and Zach Miller at tight end. Matt Forte catching passes out of the backfield. That's going to be a big staple of this offense Sunday.
Yeah, even if Alshon Jeffrey plays, and I do expect him to play, it's his first game. It's his first live Bolts really in a long time, because he didn't play at all in the preseason. Now I feel a little more comfortable with, because he and Jay Cutler have that rapport. Same with Eddie Royal. Adam Gase said today, you got to kind of go back to OTAs. You got to go all the way back to May to find a time these guys were all playing together, and hope that they could carry on from that and bring it to the field on Sunday. It's a lot to ask for, but I think an important play you just mentioned is Martellus Bennett. He needs to have a huge game for the Bears over the middle of the field. It's something that we're going to see all year long. I think he's somebody that Adam Gase will take advantage of and use to the Bears' advantage going against some of these defenses.
Finally, Arthur, there is Jay Cutler. You can argue he had the best training camp of anybody with the Chicago Bears. He seems to be understanding what Adam Gase and John Fox want from him. But there is that 1-9 record against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I don't think we can hide on it. Obviously, he can't hide from it. But, we've said it time and time again. This is a new page that he's turned over, if you will. And it's been interesting to hear all the coaches rave about him. Actually, Mike McCarthy and Adam Gase both said the same thing. His comfort at the line of scrimmage, despite everything, all the moving parts around him, has been impressive early. And he had a really interesting thing to say about Cutler's ball protection. That's been a huge issue against the Packers. Gase said they've been talking about it less, and they hope by doing that and not kind of shoving it down these guys' throats, hopefully it's going to have a bigger impact.
Well, the good news, guys, is the special team should be fine. Robbie Gould's had a great preseason. Patrick O'Donnell's got a big leg. Mark Mariani's ready to return kicks. We assume Thomas Gafford will be okay, so give the Bears a draw there. It's going to be a tough one. If you want to get the latest up-to-date information on who's healthy at wide receiver, who's playing on the offensive line, stay right where you're at 24/7 at ChicagoFootball.com.